Okay, let's go over our practice quiz answers. So first one, simplify the expression. So we're using our exponent rules here. So first one, we have 7 cubed times 8 to the 6th, all to the 6th power. So this is one where we want to distribute that exponent. So this just leaves us with 7. Let's write it like this. We'll take it really step by step. So we're distributing it first, distributing the 6 to the 7 cubed, and then 8, oops, already making a mistake. So 8 to the 6th power. So then I just wanted to make it super clear why we're going to multiply here. So first you distribute to each one. And now you can see we have a power of a power. So we're going to multiply. So this is 7. 3 times 6 is 18 times 8. 6 times 6 is 36. Now note that the directions said give your answer in exponential form. So don't take out your calculator and find a number here. I want you to leave it in exponential form like this. All right, so then we have division. So 6 to the 11th, I'm going to rewrite this in a way that I think we're more familiar with. The same thing as this. So 6 to the 11th over 6 to the 2nd. So that is subtraction. So 6 to the 11 minus 2, which is 6 to the 9th. All right, moving on. So number 3, actually not much to do here. You just distribute that exponent. So a to the 6th, b to the 6th, the end. All right, so this one, taking it step by step. So in the numerator, we're going to have m to the 6th to the 6th. And then in the denominator, we have n cubed to the 6th. So I'm just distributing this 6 on the outside to the numerator and the denominator. Then we have a power of a power. So we have m to the 36th power over n. Again, we have a power of a power, so we multiply n to the 18th. And then you stop there. Don't do anything else because these are not the same base. So we have m and we have n. They're not the same, so you can't do anything with that. Be careful there. All right, so now we have 3b squared times 4b. So first of all, we've got coefficients. So we can do 3 times 4. So I'm actually going to write that out. So we can do 3 times 4 and then times b squared times b to the first. Now don't forget about that. When you have a b by itself, that's actually b to the first. So this is equal to 3 times 12, 3 times 4 is 12. And then b squared times b to the first. You add those, so we get b to the third. All right, and then this one, more of distributing that exponent. So we have b to the fourth times c cubed to the fourth. So that's b to the fourth, and then this is a power of a power, so we multiply, so c to the 12th. And again, b and c are not the same base, so you can't do anything else. You stop there. Don't do anything with those exponents. All right, so a couple more complicated ones. So number 7, we're just distributing that 4. So we have 3 to the 4th times u to the 4th times v to the 5th to the 4th times w to the 4th. And really the only thing to do here, 3 to the 4th, that's 81, so we can write it like that. Then u to the 4th, this is a power of a power, so we multiply. So v to the 20th, w to the 4th. So this one, it does look like there's a lot going on here, but let's just take it apart piece by piece. There are 2 ways we can actually do this. Let's see. I think what I'll do first is I'll multiply the 2 numerators together and then the 2 denominators. So the numerators, we have 4. And then I'm going to group my x's together because we have x cubed times x to the negative second. So x cubed times x to the negative second. I want to put those next to each other. And then y to the negative third. I know you're probably tempted to do something with those negatives, but let's just save that till the end. So then in the denominator, I always want to put my coefficient first. So we'll have 8. And then let's do the x's first. So x to the negative first times y to the second. All right, so here we go. Let's keep simplifying. So we can do x cubed times x to the negative second. So we can add those together because x and x, that's the same base. So 3 times negative 2 is just 1. So then we have x to the first, y to the negative third over 8, x to the negative first, y to the second. So now we've got kind of 3 different division problems going on here. We have 4 over 8, so you always want to keep your bases together. So 4 over 8, that's a fraction that we can simplify. So I'm going to divide both of those by 4, and I'm going to be left with 1 times 2. Sorry, 1 over 2, not times. So then let's look at my x's now. So we have x to the first over x to the negative first. So what I'm going to want to do is, let's erase this. I'm going to do this as 3 separate fractions. So to make this super clear, actually, what I'll do is I'll write it as 3 different fractions. So 4 over 8 times x to the first over x to the negative first times y to the negative third over y squared. That's the exact same thing as this. So just to make it super clear what I'm doing here. So now I'm going to simplify these fractions. So we have 4 over 8, which we already said is going to be 1/2. And then we have x to the first over x to the negative first. Now let's do subtraction. So 1 minus negative 1. And then we have y to the negative third over y squared, which is negative 3 minus 2. So just using those exponent rules. Once we've got them in fractions like this, it's division, so we can just subtract the exponents. So now we have 1/2 x, 1 minus negative 1 is 1 plus 1, which is 2. And then we have y to the negative fifth. Okay, finally, this is really simplified. We just have one last thing to do. I don't want a negative exponent in my final answer. So I'm going to put this as one big fraction again. So that x squared is x squared over 1. So then in the numerator, we have 1 times x squared. So that's just x squared. In the denominator, we have 2. And then this y to the negative fifth is the same thing as 1 over y to the fifth. So that goes down into the denominator. Now, this is just one way to do a problem like this. There are multiple ways to do this. You could have dealt with the negatives first. Maybe I'll do the next one like that to show you what I'm talking about if there are negatives in it. Let's actually check and see. Yeah, there are some negatives in this one. So let's deal with the negatives first in this one. Oops. So let's deal with the negatives first. So what I'm going to do here, here's what you can do when you have negatives. So 12 is going to stay in the numerator. That does not have a negative exponent. X to the negative third, that has a negative exponent. So I'm going to move it down and make it positive. That's another thing that you can do. Y to the fourth, leave it there. Okay, so this whole entire thing is to the negative first power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that whole entire thing to the bottom. And now it's to the positive first power. 15 stays where it is because it does not have a negative exponent. The x to the negative second does have a negative exponent, so I'm going to move that up top and give it a positive exponent. That's another thing you can do. We didn't do that in this last question. We didn't do that until the very end. We didn't move any of the negative exponents. We used other rules first, and that's perfectly fine. You would end up with the same answer. So for this one, we move around the negative exponents first. Now we need to simplify a little bit. I don't want those parentheses, so let's simplify that. So 12 over x cubed y to the fourth times x squared over 15. Okay, so here's what's going to happen here. This is to the first power, and anything to the first power is itself. So this is just 15 y to the negative second x squared. Okay, so now we have an issue. The issue is that we still have a negative exponent. So here's what we'll do. We'll just move it. So we have 12 over x cubed y to the fourth times x squared. Move that y to the top. Now it's y to the positive second over 15x squared. Okay, so there's another thing that I notice right away. Let's take a look. We've got an x squared here, and we've got an x squared here. Those actually cancel each other out. Because if you were to divide x squared by x squared, subtract the exponents, you'd be left with x to the 0, which is just 1. So those cancel each other out. So let's keep going. So now we've established that we have 12 over x cubed y to the 4th times, we canceled those guys out in blue over there, so we're just left with y squared over 15. All right, so we're definitely making some progress here. So let's now combine these into one fraction. So we have 12 y squared over 15. I like to put the coefficient first, x cubed y to the 4th. So what we did in the last problem was we split this up into different fractions. So we did the coefficient one, and then we did the x's, and then we did the y's. We don't need to do it like that either. Here's another way. So think about it like this. 12 over 15, you can reduce that. So reduce it by 3, and you get 4 over 5. Y squared and y to the 4th. We have two y's on top, 4 y's on bottom. If I cancel out 2 of the y's on top, I'm left with 2 y's on bottom. So we'll have y squared. Think about it. So we have y times y on top. This is just a side note. And then y times y times y times y on bottom. Cancel, 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 cancel. So we cancel 2 on top, 2 on bottom. You're left with 2 on bottom. So we have y squared on bottom. And then we just have x cubed on bottom. Can't do anything else with that. So that's what we're left with. So maybe you thought the first way was confusing. Maybe you thought the second way was confusing. As long as you're using rules the right way, you'll end up with the correct answer. All right, so now finding sum or difference. So this is where we need to group like terms. So for number 10, let me start up here. So number 10, first thing I want to do is distribute that negative. So we're going to have 5h cubed. Actually, I don't want the parentheses anymore once I distribute the negative. So 5h cubed plus 8h minus 9, and then distribute the negative. So minus 6h cubed minus 6h, and then we have negative times negative. So it turns into plus 4. Okay, and then I want to combine like terms. So we have 5h cubed minus 6h cubed. Those are like terms. So this and this, those are like terms. And then plus 8h minus 6h. That's this and this. Then we have plus negative 9 plus 4. So now we've grouped our like terms together. So now let's add like terms. So 5h cubed minus 6h cubed is negative 1h cubed. 8h minus 6h is 2h. Then we have negative 9 plus 4, which is minus 5. And that's it. Number 11, it's already addition, so we don't need to distribute anything. So I'm just going to drop the parentheses, rewrite it. And now I'm going to group my like terms. So we have 6q to the 5th, and then 8q to the 5th. So that's this one and this one. And then plus 8q squared. And then we don't have another q squared, so that's alone. And then we have minus 3q. That's all by itself. And then we have plus, put it in parentheses if you want, plus 3 minus 7. That's those guys. All right, so 6q to the 5th plus 8q to the 5th is 14q 5q to the 5th, and then plus 8q squared was all by itself, minus 3q, and then 3 minus 7 is minus 4. All right, so more of grouping like terms. So for number 12, I'm going to start by dropping the parentheses. So 7x squared plus 3 plus 4x squared plus 2x minus 1. Then we group like terms. So negative 7x squared plus 4x squared. And then my next one would be 2x. That's all by itself. And then plus 3 minus 1. So negative 7x squared plus 4x squared would be negative 3x squared plus 2x. And then 3 minus 1 is 2. So again, you group your like terms, and like terms have the same base and exponent, so the same power. And then you combine like terms, so just add the coefficients. So 13. This is addition again, so we don't need to distribute any negative, so I'm just going to drop the parentheses. So I'm just rewriting it right now. And then we're going to group like terms. So let's start with my p to the 4th terms. So we've got 3p to the 4th plus another 3p to the 4th. So that's this one and this one. Then I have a p to the 3rd term. So minus 7p to the 3rd. That's my only p to the 3rd term, so that's all alone. Then I have a p, I don't have any p squared terms, but I do have just a p term. So 7p, that's all alone too. And then plus my constant terms, so plus 5 minus 3. So that's this, and I've covered everything, so I can move on. So 3p to the 4th plus 3p to the 4th, add our coefficients, that's 6p to the 4th minus 7p cubed plus 7p, and then plus 5 minus 3 is 2. And that is it for that one. All right, last adding and subtracting, we've got a subtraction one. So we start by distributing the negative to everything over here. So we have negative 8s squared minus 7s plus 9s. It becomes plus because we've got a negative times a negative, plus 1 plus 2s squared. All right, and then we need to combine like terms. So we have negative 8s squared plus 2s squared. So that was this one and this one. And then we have negative 7s plus 9s. So that's this one and this one. And then plus 1, that's all along. So just that one. Right, then we combine. So negative 8 plus 2 would be negative 6s squared. So again, you're just adding the coefficients together to combine like terms. And then plus negative 7 plus 9 would be 2s plus 1. All right, so now into multiplying. So for these two on this page, it's just distributing. So you're just distributing a monomial. So for this first one, 15, we have 6x times 3x squared plus 6x times 6x plus 6x times 1. And then we multiply. So 6 times 3 is 18. X times x squared is x cubed. 6 times 6 is 36. X times x is x squared. 6x times 1 is just 6x. And that's it. This next one, same idea. We're distributing a monomial, so we're distributing that negative 3. So we have negative 3 times 4x squared plus -3 times -2. So -3 times 4 is -12x squared. And then -3 times -2 is +6. All right, next one, we have two binomials. We're multiplying two binomials, which means we need to FOIL. So x plus 4, 2x minus 5. We do first. So x times 2x, outer. So plus x times -5, inner, plus 4 times 2x. And then last, plus 4 times -5. So x times 2x is going to give us 2x squared. X times -5 gives us -5x, plus 4 times 2x is 8x, and then 4 times -5 gives us -20. And then we need to combine these two guys in the middle because they're both x terms to the first power. They're like terms, so we have to combine them. So we have 2x squared. Then -5 plus 8 is plus 3x, and we've got -20. That's it. Next one, again, it's two binomials, so we have to FOIL again. So 2x cubed plus 6x squared, -x plus 1. We do the first, so 2x cubed times -x, outer. So 2x cubed times 1, inner. 6x squared times -x, and then last, 6x squared times 1. So 2x cubed times -x is -2x to the 4th, plus 2x cubed times 1 is 2x cubed. And then we have 6x squared times -x, which is -6x cubed, plus 6x squared times 1 is just 6x squared. And then, as always, we need to combine like terms. So those two middle terms are both x cubed, so we can combine them. So we have -2x to the 4th. Add the coefficients here. So 2 plus -6 or 2 minus 6 is -4x cubed plus 6x squared. All right, next one. Next one is a polynomial times another polynomial. So this is where we're going to take this first one and distribute it into that whole set of parentheses, take the second term, distribute it into the whole set of parentheses. So that's going to be u times u squared minus 3u plus 3. And then the second one, so that was this first u right here. Now we take the 4 right here and multiply that by that whole second set of parentheses. And then we distribute. So u times u squared, and then minus u times 3u, and then plus u times 3, and then plus 4 times u squared. So that was all this right here. That was all the first one. Now I'm starting the second one. So 4 times u squared plus 4 times -3u plus 4 times 3. So then we simplify. So u times u squared is u cubed. U times 3u is 3u squared plus 3u plus 4u squared. 4 times -3 is -12u. 4 times 3 is 12. And then we need to combine like terms. So first, let's look at our u cubed. I don't see any other u cubed, so that's all alone. So u cubed is all alone. Then let's look at our u squared. So we've got a u squared right here, and we've got a u squared right here. So then we have minus 3u squared plus 4u squared. And then we have 3u and we have negative 12u, so plus 3u minus 12u, and then 12 is the only constant term. So this becomes u cubed. Then we add the coefficients here, so negative 3 plus 4 is just 1, so that's just 1u squared. And then we have 3u minus 12u leaves us with minus 9u plus 12. All right, so here's 20. It's the same idea. So we're going to take this x, distribute it to this whole second set of parentheses, then take the negative 3 and distribute it to the whole second set of parentheses. So let's do that. So we have x distributed to that whole second polynomial. Then we have minus 3 distributed to that whole second polynomial. And now let's actually do the distribution. So we've got x times x squared, x times 4x, so plus x times 4x, and then plus x times 5, and then minus 3 times x squared, minus 3 times 4x, minus 3 times 5. And then we multiply. So x times x squared is x cubed. X times 4x is 4x squared. X times 5 is 5x. Minus 3x squared. 3 times 4 is 12x. Minus 3 times 5 is 15. And then we combine like terms just like before. So x cubed, that's the only x cubed term here, so that stays as it is. Then we've got plus 4x squared minus 3x squared. So plus 4x squared minus 3x squared. And then we have 5x minus 12x. And then minus 15 is all alone. That's the only constant term. So x cubed, 4x minus 3x is plus 1x squared. 5x minus 12x is going to leave us with minus 7x, and then minus 15. And that's all we can do. All right, I think we have 2 questions left. So find the missing term. So this one is kind of tricky. So you need to know that you can't distribute. You're not allowed to distribute the exponent when it's addition. That's extremely illegal. So what we will do, x plus 3 squared is the same thing as x plus 3 times x plus 3, which means we need to FOIL it because that's 2 binomials. So that's the trick to this one. So we do our first, x squared, outer 3x, inner 3x, last is 9. So they're only asking us for the last term here. They gave us the x squared plus 6x, which you get from these two. So they just want the 9. So the last term is 9. So that's the missing term. So really the only trick to this one is knowing that you need to FOIL. You can't just distribute the squared. So I kind of like that question. All right, so this one clearly was a multiple choice question at one point. So a rectangle has a length. So let's draw this. This throws a little geometry in here with us. So a rectangle has a length of x minus 6 and a width of x minus 7. Which equation below describes the perimeter? Okay, so obviously that should have been multiple choice, but it's not. So perimeter is when you add up all the sides. So with a rectangle, we know the opposite sides are the same. So this one is also x minus 6, and this one is also x minus 7, because opposite sides are the same. So when we add up the perimeter, we're going to add up x minus 6 2 times. So you can do 2 times x minus 6, or you could do x minus 6 plus x minus 6, doesn't matter, plus 2 times x minus 7. And then let's distribute. So 2x, and then 2 times 6 is minus 12, plus 2x, then 2 times 7 is minus 14. And then we combine like terms. So we have 2x and 2x, and then let's use a triangle, I guess. So we have 2x and 2x. That would give us 4x. And then minus 12 minus 14. So that's going to give us negative 26. So this is our equation for perimeter. I just thought that was a fun, different little question for us. And that's it for your quiz review.